Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello and a very good evening to all of our audience. So, welcome back to our program podcast Here Is Loud, which is organized by Tun Ahmad Zaidi Residential College in University Malaya. So, I am Nur Shamiza as your moderator for today. In today's episode, we will be discussing an interesting topic about the awareness of mental health, which is coping strategies for dealing with anxieties. So, before we go further, let me introduce to all of you our guest for today, which is Miss Kasdina from the Faculty of Pharmacy. Hi, and thank you for joining with us today. So, before we start our discussion, let me explain a little bit about our topic for today. So, according to the World Health Organization WHO stated that in 2019, 301 millions of people were living with anxiety disorders, including 58 millions of children and teenagers. So, in 2020, the number of people living with anxiety disorder also rise significantly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So without wasting our more time, my first question to our guest, Miss Castina, can you explain more to us about the definition of the anxiety disorders?
All right. Thank you, our moderator, Shamiza. So, in my opinion, actually, anxiety is a normal reaction stress, and it can be beneficial for some situations. But the anxiety disorder is different from the normal feelings of nervousness and anxiousness, and involve excessive fear or anxiety. So, actually, anxiety disorder is the most common mental disorder that we always having when about 30% of adults having this problem. So we don't have to worry because there's a lots of treatments available, and it can also be a number of effective treatments. And this treatment can help people to lead their and improve their quality of life.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Miss Castina, for the explanation about the definition of anxiety disorders. So nowadays, experiencing occasional anxiety is a normal part of life. However, people with anxiety disorders are frequently have difficulty with their excessive, persistent of worry and fear about their everyday situation. So this feeling of anxiety can interfere their daily activities, which are very difficult to control. So my next question is, what is the causes of the anxiety disorders?
So thank you, Miss Shamiza, for the moderator. So she asked me about what's the cause of anxiety disorders. So basically, there are three, and the most common one is actually a genetic or inherited. So it runs in our family, which means that if your mother has anxiety disorder, it can lead to you. So that's the first causes. The second is environmental factor. So actually, too much stressful event occur to you, it's like um death of loved one or being attacked by something traumatic event, and also like childhood abuse, it can give you a trauma. So this trauma can also trigger your anxiety disorder. And also the last one is chemical imbalance. So chemical imbalance actually can change your lifestyle because long lasting stress actually can lead to like a habit. So we become habits, it become a disease, which is we call anxiety disorder.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Miss Castina, for the insightful explanation about the causes of anxiety disorders. So now we know that anxiety is the feeling of the unease, such as worry or fear, that can be mild or severe. So everyone has a feeling of anxiety at some point in their life. For example, where we may feel worried or anxious when we want sitting an examination or we having a medical test or a job interview. But did you know that there are several types of anxiety disorders? So, Miss Casdina, can you tell us about the type of anxiety disorder to our audience?
Okay, thank you. So there are several types of anxiety disorder that we know, and the first one in common, which is called panic disorder. So it involves like repeated episodes of sudden feelings, which is a feeling of intense fear of terror, and it's like within a minute, and this can call it panic attacks. So this can you can see that person have shortness of breath, like rapid fluttering, pounding heart. And other than that, we have that anxiety disorder due to medical condition. So these include the symptom of intense anxiety or panic that are directly caused by physical health problem. Also, we have the called substance-induced anxiety disorder, which is this anxiety disorder can occur when we like having a misusing the drugs or like taking some medications, because there are some medication that can lead to anxiety disorder because it changed their hormone. Um, Also the last one I think I want to talk about the specific phobias. So there are a little the major anxiety actually are exposed because of the trigger, which is the you are supposed to do something that makes you very scared and you are having a panic attack. So these phobias provoke the people and lead to the anxiety disorder.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Casida, for the insightful explanation about the type of anxiety disorders. So now we know that there are several types of anxiety disorder that they are very common nowadays. So my next question is, what are the symptoms of the anxiety disorders?
Okay, so basically we can see like we can go to the three categories, which is the physical, mental, and their behavior symptoms. So as a physical, we can see like they have their dry mouth, and then they have like sweaty hands, like, and then heart palpitations, always go to nausea. Some of them like numbness or tingling in their hands or feet. Maybe have a muscle tension, shortness of breath. Of course, you can see because they are panic. Maybe next for the mental symptoms, we can see that they are feeling panic, fear, or like uneasiness. They will always have the nightmare, and they have like repeated thought or flashback for their trauma experience, and also like uncontrollable obsessive thoughts, which is like overthinking actually. Their behavioral symptoms actually you can see like they are cannot like still sit still and calm like us, and have the behaviors which is like when washing your hands like they will repeat like because they are too anxious, and lastly trouble sleeping, which is insomnia.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the explanation about the symptoms of the anxiety disorders. So now we have learned that symptoms of anxiety disorders are depending on the types of anxiety disorders. So if these symptoms occur continuously, it will lead to the effect of the individual for who suffer from it. So therefore, my next question is, what is the complication of the anxiety disorders?
All right, so for the complications of the anxiety disorder, which it can affect the mental and physical condition, which is like depressions. We can have like substance misuse, which is leading to drugs. Using wrong usage of drugs. We have trouble sleeping, like in some we call it insomnia. Maybe have digestive overall problems, and also can have headache on chronic pain.
Okay.
So other than that, that person become like want to distance themselves, so they like have social isolation with others, have a problem maybe at school or at works, and lastly, can the bad thing is they can lead to the suicide, because this is uh the things that we don't want to avoid from people having anxiety disorder and need to manage it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation about the complication of the anxiety disorder. So, if we did not take any action or initiative to cure the anxiety disorder, it will become a long anxiety that will lead to the complication to our health. So, in order to overcome these anxiety disorders, my next question is how to cope with these anxiety disorders.
So, in my opinion, there are several ways that we can use to cope with this anxiety disorder, and this is like a treatment strategies lah. So, first is explore the stress management. You must learn how to manage your stress, and like maybe some meditation, some praying can help you, or you can join the support groups, because when they have anxiety, they have no confidence, they are fear, so they need someone to support them. So um, when they're joining a support group, they will encourage these people to help them share their experience if they feel overwhelmed and coping strategies. Next, get educated. For a person that have anxiety disorder, and if you know how you have a friend like that, you must know you have learn that specific type of anxiety that you need to know, and then you need to know how you can understand them and support them. So other than that, actually, like food, we call limit or avoid the caffeine, because some of the products can lead and trigger that anxiety become more worse. So we need to avoid caffeine because it has that substance that can worsen their symptoms. And lastly, if we cannot avoid this, we need to go to the professionals one, which is doctor or psychiatrist, because I think they have more professional way and best way to cure that.
Okay, thank you so much to our guest, Miss Kazina, for the explanation about our topics for today. So we have come to the end of our discussion about the awareness of mental health, which is coping strategies for dealing with anxiety. So in conclusion, people with the anxiety disorder may have difficulty to get through in their life. But fortunately, you don't have to worry because there are several effective treatments that can help to improve your quality of life, your relationships, and productivities. So, if you notice any symptoms of the anxiety disorder, don't waste any more times and refer to the psychiatrist before it is getting worse. So, it is best to get treated and get diagnosed as soon as possible so that it can reduce the effect of the anxiety disorder to our health. So, that's all for me. Thank you so much to all of the audience for listening to our podcast for today. And don't forget to stay tuned to our podcast. Hear us loud for the upcoming episode. And thank you and take care.